All right, everybody, what's up? And welcome to your channeled forecast for 2025. Don't mind the hilarious lighting. You should see how I have it set up on the other side. But I channeled in and I tuned in for messages for 2025, for Starseed, for empaths, for neurodivergence, and I got some interesting information. And the main thing that came through over and over and over again, I've been hearing this for a couple of weeks now. Keep your circle small. I've talked a lot about finding your tribe, and this year I realized, or it came through this download, that finding your tribe doesn't necessarily mean finding this huge group of 12 friends where you're all going to go to festivals and everybody's going to love each other and totally understand you, and people are really going to see you deep down, and you're going to have this football team or whatever that is going to make you feel really included and held. It's more about, can you find 2 friends that really understand you? Ideally, these friends would live in the same city or the same area so you can connect with them in the flesh, so you can hug them and you can talk to them and they can, stroke your hair and tell you that everything's going to be okay. But it's okay if those friends live elsewhere. The power of connection transcends all distances and limits of time and space. So can you find, or can you zoom into, are there 2 people, maybe 1, who really make you feel just so good? And you leave your hangouts or you leave the phone call and you're like, damn, that felt good. That's your tribe. Those are your people. In truth, and the way that humanity is headed, the way that the earth is headed, is we're moving towards a sense of community, which means that there are going to be a lot of layers of people and interactions and folks that we deal with day to day that aren't going to be our tribe, that aren't going to be our inner circle. And so it's okay if your tribe is a lot smaller than you thought it would be. Keep the people who are close to you small. You won't get this feeling of dilution, and you won't get so much confusion when you're trying to figure out, how do I lean into people, or how do I trust people, or all these sort of intricacies that come with intimacy and relationships. It'll be easier to sort out if you have a fair few, or a few, and that's it. This may mean that you're going to have people fall away unexpectedly. And this is an energetic theme that Pam Gregory, who I talk about often, has been talking about for a long time, which is the set design of the former fallacy is peeling off like old paint. And so people, places, situations, things are going to change rapidly. However, it's not necessarily going to feel like much skin off your back. So if you have a sudden change, or you have a sudden shift in your life where things just sort of snap all of a sudden, make sure that you're aware of how you're moving through that experience. Are you telling yourself a story about, oh, this is so dramatic, or this and this happened, or oh, this is such a big deal, or isn't this bad, or whatever. The way that we speak to ourselves, the way that we curate our lives based on our stories, makes a huge difference to how we move through our life and how we navigate our life and what is attracted to us. Be conscious of the stories that you're telling yourself and allow that to fall away. Okay, next up is family of origin. I'm going to show you the cards. Okay, so the next card is Stromatolite and Fern. The caption underneath says, Akasha, strip back and simplify, look to your origins. What that means for 2025 is it's okay if you accept your family of origin as something that's never going to change. Something that we sort of went polarized in that way. We were very like, okay, family is everything. You have to be really involved with your family to set those boundaries, cut those people off, get rid of those people, regardless of whether they're family or not. And there is a middle path, which is where we're ultimately heading, right? We're headed towards the middle path. We're just living in a time of extremes right now. This is why you're here. You are a warrior. You're meant to be here. You are part of the warrior cohort. I have other videos on that. But we're here to help the earth balance in a time of extremes. And part of that element of balance comes from accepting your family of origin as they are and not trying to change them, not trying to continue to put yourself in unsafe situations that don't work for you but work for them. Or not allowing that story and that history and that genetic thread to define your future. Just because they're of blood doesn't mean they need to be your foundation for everything. Setting healthy boundaries that maintain a sense of relationship but also protect you are really, really beautiful things. Haley Page McGee is the expert on boundaries. You can check out her work. She's really helpful. She's really helped me. Give your family some grace and protect your peace in 2025. Those two details will really help moving forwards. Okay, and here's the second card. That is Green Man and Moss Agate, Ritual and Ceremony, New Spirit Guides, Tree Wisdom. When I first tuned into this card, I just got an image of a lot of places that I traveled to, and I didn't really understand at the beginning. It didn't really make sense. But revisiting places that we've been, whether it's like a park that you went to in your neighborhood once, or a certain look off, or a certain beach, or a certain tree that you visited, there are downloads for you in those places that you didn't get all of the last time you were there. Maybe you weren't open, maybe you weren't ready, maybe you weren't in a place to receive downloads in that moment. There's this theme in 2025 of revisiting places we have been in order to connect to them in a deeper way, to create activation within our bodies and within our light bodies to receive new information about our mission and path. Let's say we go back to that tree, leaning into that tree and opening yourself to receive. I had this insight come in the surf the other day that said, it's not a manifestation issue. It's a receiving issue. It's not a manifestation block. It's a receiving block. When we're seeking information, we kind of tune our eyes outward and we're really looking for something. Truthfully, we just need to lean into something and allow things to come through, allow things to be received. That is the feminine energy. It's this allowing, receptive space. You may find yourself pulled to certain places this year or going back to certain places that might feel like you're kind of going backwards, but you're not actually. You're just revisiting in a new space in order to receive the energy, the upgrade, the information that you never got the first time. This was something that was said, it's kind of been said across the board through other energy healers on YouTube, but I am going to repeat it because it's true. 2025 is really going to show us a lot of living more harmoniously with the cycles. So if you have a womb, if you are female, if you feel aligned with the moon, however you embody, aligning yourself with the natural rhythms of the planet are going to A, work to your advantage in a very deep way, and B, help you feel more in alignment. If any of you have ever done like remote work or bush work or have lived outside for a long time, done backcountry camping trips, you'll know the feeling in your body of when you are sleeping on the ground and you're living in alignment with the cycles and you're kind of getting up when the sun rises and going to bed when the sun goes down, and you're just like so in rhythm with everything, and you're almost not really using your mind in the way that you're used to. You're using your other senses so much more. And that's what we want to move towards in this society that's sort of pulsing with disconnect. If we can connect more to the cycles, if it gets dark where you live at 4:30, then just stop what you're doing at 4:30. If you're really motivated and you're in the zone, then keep going. But if you're sleeping late, but the sun doesn't rise until 7:30, that's totally reasonable for you to be sleeping in. Respecting where the earth is at instead of trying to live in conflict with it is really going to bring this deep harmony within us that's going to make it easier for us to create and sing and laugh and connect and play in the way that the world needs. The other thing that's coming in more strongly is this use of ritual. I wrote a post on medium.com the other day and on Substack about how it kind of baffles me that people are charging exorbitant amount of money to be part of this ritual and then not leading it with really safe container aspects. And that it really grinds my gears. It really gets under my skin as a practitioner who holds space for people. What I said in the articles was that the way that you run ritual is completely up to you. It's just a process of ceremony that feels intentional and sacred in some way, and everything else in the middle is totally DIY. As long as you are opening the space or the intention in some way and closing the intention in some way, even if it's something as silly as the ritual has now begun, or the ritual is now open, and then the ritual is now closed. That is ceremony. That is a sacred process of opening and closing. If you have something that you're trying to shift or you want to release or it's been hard, take yourself to the water's edge or take yourself to a river or a stream or somewhere that feels good to you in nature and have a little baby ritual about whatever that thing is. And I promise you that not only will it feel better and shifted after you've done it, but you're also going to gain this sense of personal power. In the work that I do, I'm not interested in teaching you forever. I want to empower you and help you remember the skills that you have and activate the memories that you have so that you can feel self-empowered and that you can feel self-contained and you can go out in the world and serve or share your light the way that you are meant to. We're all so powerful and we're all so talented. A lot of that gets taken away from us through our life process or just the journey that we've been on. Regaining that sense of self-empowerment really goes a long way, and ritual can be a really helpful thing for that. Another theme for 2025 is the intention of peace. The intention of peace. We're living amidst multiple world wars. The war in Gaza being the most significant in terms of what we're seeing every day. We are living amidst a time of war. Even if we don't see it, even if we can block it out, our energy, we're sensitive beings, right? We can feel it. And I know that if you're watching this, you know that there are children in Palestine that are suffering. There are children everywhere that are suffering. There are also people down the road who are suffering from domestic abuse, right? There's a lot of pain in this world that we're living amongst. And yes, it's possible to get bogged down by it and totally focus on what's going wrong and how we're failing and all of these things. But that's not going to get us anywhere. That frame of thinking is not going to get us anywhere. Yes, by all means, be a human and feel the emotion that you need to if something particularly catches your eye on social media or you get reached out by somebody from a Palestinian family through your DMs who's asking directly for help. That's the kind of stuff that's happened to me. It's okay to be human. What we can do, we're often in this place of, what can I do? I'm helpless. I'm powerless. I can't do anything. I can't help these people. I can't change whatever. You can hold the intention of peace. And intention is one thing that is really a lot more powerful than people give it credit for. We're in a yoga class and people say, what's your intention for this class? Or, what are your intentions with my daughter? But intention is the energetic focus that you put towards a goal, an idea, or a concept. It's literally you using your energy and directing it somewhere precise. If you are lost in the midst of all this war and this trauma and all this violence, use your power of intention and direct it towards peace. This is something that's going to come in more frequently on the local level as well. Instead of looking for justification, or what used to happen to me a lot is I would really stew about something that didn't seem fair, and then I would just think about all these different scenarios about how it could have gone, or what I would say, or what I would like to say, or how I hope that person, gets a flat tire because of what they did to me. And it was really this sort of back and forth, primal, kind of like lowbrow ping-ponging, and it doesn't really get our energy anywhere, and it doesn't make us feel any better. If we can hold the intention of peace, or direct the intention of peace, when somebody does something hurtful to you, they're hurting themselves just as much. A valuable friend of mine said that to me, that when somebody is doing something hurtful to you, they're hurting themselves just as much. If we can envelop the situation with the intention of peace, it's going to get us a lot further than pure force. Okay, a couple more things. Be aware of the Devil's Club. And what I mean by that is we're searching for connection, we're searching for good people, and we might find something that feels powerful in a group full of people, or a friendship, or someone who feels powerful to you, but it's really just negativity wrapped in a beautiful package. Maybe it's somebody who seems all like love and light and like doing the work and blah, 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 but they love to talk down about other people when they're not around, or they love to criticize, or they love to make little comments that are sort of like micro aggressions that you're not really sure why it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you know that they're like doing the work, so you're not really sure what's going on there. That is the one-way ticket to the Devil's Club. Protect your precious time by spending time with people who are raising you up. If you can feel like a batch of cookies that have gone into the oven, and when you come out from that interaction, you feel baked and full and perfect and chewy and yummy and all these beautiful things, that's the right type of energy. If you go into the oven with this person, or with this group of people, or this situation, it could be like a group course or a class or anything, and you come out and you haven't risen and you don't really understand why you feel like you were supposed to, that's the Devil's Club. So it's kind of like the say no to the cool kids thing, because the people who are in the cool kids group are usually feeling pretty trapped themselves. Allow yourself to be nerdy or dorky or weird or awkward or whatever, as long as you're avoiding this veneer of what feels cool or feels right, but actually doesn't feed you, right? We need things that are going to nourish us this year, otherwise we will starve. And the energetics and the intensity of this planet are far too strong for us to be navigating when we're not replenished. Okay, last two things. The heading that came in during this intuitive hit, this download, was be aware of beautiful men. And I don't mean like be aware. I mean like open your mind to the amount of beautiful men out there. Because yes, 100%, like we need to rise up as women. We need to rise up as individuals who have been oppressed. Every individual who has been oppressed is working on rising up. We're all in it together, right? BIPOC humans, people who are neurodivergent, women, people who are not able-bodied. All of these people are all coming together and we're all moving things forwards. However, we cannot leave the masculine source or the masculine pulse in the dust. And I feel like a lot of the message that has been pushed out for the past 10 years has been like men, you know? And it's not going to serve us anywhere, because the men who are wounded and who are not behaving in a way that is supportive to humanity are just becoming ignited by that sort of push away. And the men who are trying their damned hardest are not being witnessed, right? We need to bring in more of a balance this year. And I am not saying go anywhere near any type of man who makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying reconnect with anybody who doesn't make you feel safe or feel good, but can you open your mind to the amount of male individuals out there who are doing the work? And if you don't have any examples in your own life, then go online. Look online, because there are, I can tell you, and I can attest to some of my friends in my own life. I'm very blessed to have men in my life who are doing the work and who are sitting down and going inside and doing the things like going to therapy or journaling or self-reflecting or apologizing or letting themselves be vulnerable or letting themselves be soft. And let's bring those people into the mix this year so that we can work together more strongly. Right? Part of the reason the feminine is so tired all the time is because she's doing everything herself. It's not our job to educate. And so if you have a man in your life who is getting stuck and who isn't doing the work, you can point him towards resources, but you can't make him do the work. And at the end of the day, if he's not willing to do the work, then you're at a crossroads. This year in 2025, open your mind to more beautiful men, and you may find yourself surrounded by a more balanced net of support. And the last thing I have for the 2025 energy forecast, energy update, is, this came in very strongly in the Pleiadian guide voice this morning, which was, can you be happy in a smaller pond? Can you be happy in a smaller pond? So many of us who are creatives, we're writers, we're filmmakers, we're teachers, we're lovers, we're friends, we're doing all these things with our creativity, we're running our own businesses, we're doing the work on the side. We're just shooting like so far out for something that is 70% wrapped up in ego. I'm not saying don't shoot for your dreams. By all means, shoot for your dreams. And a lot of the times when you're shooting for your dreams, you have to double it, because you have to be, if you're not scared, then you're not shooting far enough. Sometimes the truth of realizing those dreams looks exactly the same. It's just in a smaller pond. It's a little closer to home. It's a little more quiet. It's maybe a little bit more boring, but it's satisfying and it's fulfilling and it's life-giving. And so as we move into this space of sort of marinating with our goals, and as we sort of come out of the slumber of Mars in retrograde, which was until February 23rd, which is why you might have felt a little bit like not out of the gate at New Year's. As we start to come out of that, can we reevaluate our goals and think about, do I need public recognition for this to make me happy? Do I need to be famous or on a billboard? Or do I need to be part of this like particular magazine or this particular title? Or am I trying to get into some sort of club? Do I need 11,000 followers to make myself feel good? Or can I be happy with what I want and have my dreams realized in a smaller pond? Because that's where you might find the pearl of information. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to learn more about what I do, or you want to read more of my work, you can find me on medium.com, on Substack, here on YouTube, on Instagram, and I have a Facebook page as well. If you want to book with me privately, go to my website, www.katelightstone.com, and please keep an eye on the updates. I am going to be launching 2 group programs this year. One is called Basic Mastery, which is going to be what everybody needs. It's going to be a more basic, like really bones course of, okay, how do we manage our energy? How do we direct our energy? How do we keep ourselves clear? How do we keep ourselves protected? All these basic things so that we can go into life and actually live the life that we want and actually manifest our dreams the way that we want. And the second one is going to be called the Ascension Code, which is a relic of an old program that I launched many years ago and never really leaned into the way that I wanted to. And that's going to be much more Starseed specific, energy activations, a lot of light language, a lot more on the woo-woo scale of things. So keep your eye out for those 2 programs. Please like the video if you liked it. Please hit subscribe and send to a friend if you also found it helpful. And otherwise, super blessings in 2025, and I wish you all the best. Take care.